The Virginia Supreme Court has just struck down a new congressional map that was passed by voters last month. Democrats have proposed a new map with the hopes of flipping 4 Republican-held House seats, and this is the latest battle in what's become this nationwide redistricting war. CNN's Arlette Saenz is here in the Situation Room. And Arlette, this is a big blow to Democrats.
Yeah, it really is. Democrats had been hoping to shore up their efforts to try to reclaim the majority, but this ruling from Virginia State Supreme Court is a significant derailment of those Democratic plans. Now, the Virginia State Supreme Court ruled that the creation of this referendum that happened last month violated the state's constitution. Our team is still reading through this opinion, but this certainly will be a major setback for Democrats going forward. Democrats had drawn this map hoping to create an additional 4 seats for Democrats in next year's Congress. They had kind of sliced up the more Democratic suburban areas of the Washington, D.C. area to make these districts that pinwheeled out into more rural areas. But now, for the time being, this is prevented from going forward. This is made even more complicated by the fact that we have seen so many Republican states swiftly moving over the last week to redraw their maps. We've seen Florida and Tennessee pass measures to try to draw their maps and gain more Republican seats. There are other efforts underway in Louisiana, Alabama, and South Carolina as well. And so that really can potentially shift the way that some of these House races are going to look heading into November. You know, Democrats are really hoping that they can reclaim the majority. They feel that they have a lot of the political, economic headwinds are working in their favor. But certainly this is a major setback in this redistricting race, as we've seen states across the country, Republican and Democrats, trying to redraw their congressional maps to acquire more seats in what's going to be a very close midterm election.
And you're seeing a difference in how some of the states are doing it. Like in Virginia, it was the voters, right, who voted for the redistricting. In other states, you're seeing the legislature take the reins and do it themselves, right?
And that's one thing that Democrats have tried to argue is different from what they are doing compared to what some of these Republican states have been doing. We saw California and Virginia come out with referendums where their voters had to decide if they actually wanted to move this forward. And this was a very close race that happened just a little over 2 weeks ago. I think that this passed by about 3 percentage points. So it's something that Virginia voters were very torn up about, but had decided to move forward with. But then we have seen more Republican-led states really turn and try to just do this through their state legislators, with Texas being the state that really kicked off this whole redistricting battle last summer.
It's a huge loss for Democrats, who spent tens of millions of dollars persuading Virginia voters to approve the new map. And it comes one day after Tennessee's governor signed into law a new Republican gerrymander that breaks up the only majority black district in the state. Louisiana, Alabama, and South Carolina may soon pass their own last-minute maps. So here's where that leaves the redistricting wars nationwide right now. Republicans have targeted 14 extra seats. Democrats could pick up 6. Theoretically, it would be an 8-seat GOP advantage. But here's an important caveat. Just because a seat is redrawn by Republicans or even Democrats doesn't mean it automatically goes that way, especially in a year like this one. I'm joined by a terrific group of reporters here at the table. The president did not waste much time crowing about this Supreme Court decision in Virginia. He said, huge win for the Republican Party and America in Virginia. The Virginia Supreme Court has just struck down the Democrats' horrible gerrymander, Make America Great Again. If you talk to Democrats privately, they don't disagree with what the president just said. It is a big loss. Here's one senior Democratic official who I was texting with as I saw this report told me, not good. A major upset in our bid to win the House back, though we still can prevail. But the hill just got a little steeper, Isaac.
Yeah, another Democratic operative who's working on House races this year said to me, look, 1.6 million people cast their vote and decided a very, very specific thing. And 4 unelected judges just said, piss off. I mean, that is the feeling among Democrats now. A real stinging defeat here. They thought that they would be getting this advantage in a bunch of these House districts in Virginia. Now they won't be. And there is not a lot of time left to get seats anywhere else, even as Republican-led states are moving, as you point out in that map, to try to get a couple more seats for them. This is. It is up to the people to vote, but this is very much a case of the politicians choosing the voters before the voters choose the politicians.
Which, again, we should underscore, everybody is doing.
Yep,
and
for sure.
It started, the mid-decade push to do this started at the White House with President Trump. It's interesting, just with this Virginia decision, James Blair, the president's top political advisor right now, was sitting where you're sitting, Nia, last week or the week before, and he was really leaning into the notion that Virginia would strike this down.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. I've been texting with folks, and they're saying, and these are folks at the D-Trip saying, yes, this is a setback, but they feel like, they were trying to get 4 additional seats. Probably 2 of those they probably can get, particular if it's a wave.
Because it could be a bad year for Republicans.
It could be a bad year, but listen, this is a big blow. Hakeem Jeffries, I basically wrote a column that was like, this was great for Hakeem Jeffries, because he was all in on it. $38 million spent from a group affiliated with him. Obama was in on this, and now this is a big defeat. And one of the reasons why Virginia was so important as well was Democrats were anticipating this Supreme Court decision, which is also going to have massive effects. So they felt like they've got this sort of tranche of 4 seats, and now of course that's gone. Again, they're still hopeful that they can maybe get 1 or 2 of these seats, but it has been a big waste of money. They'll have to pivot maybe to 2028, because this was a procedural decision. It looks like the voters, at least by a small margin, wanted these maps, but they're going to have to wait at least 2 years to get these maps.
So we're reporting what Democrats are telling us privately. Here's the public messaging in light of this defeat in Virginia. Just for example, Gavin Newsom, no vote in Tennessee, no vote in Florida, no vote in Missouri, North Carolina, Texas. This is the key. Virginia's voter-approved maps thrown out. MAGA has rigged the system.
I mean, another way to win the election is to motivate people to come out and vote. That's exactly what that message is trying to do here. I would just note, like, when it comes to Congress itself and how it functions, the impact that this is going to have could be really extreme, because what you're starting to see is that middling, those districts that are hard fought, those make good members. Those make members who make our job really interesting, because they sometimes will cross the aisle and vote with the other party because they feel like that's what they need to do to stay competitive. The fewer of those districts you have, the less and less likely it is that people work together, that people cross the aisle, that it matters that the margins are close. If everybody's in lockstep, that becomes a huge question of Congress's ability to do anything.
And also it feels like what we are getting into here is redistricting used to be something that happened once every 10 years, and now it seems like we're headed to at least the next bunch of years where it might be happening every 2 years in a bunch of states. And that changes all the way this goes.
Yeah, I just want to underscore what you're saying, because it's so important that you say extreme, I say bad, just bad. This is bad for America. To have already have so few of those sort of moderate, either Democrats or Republicans in Congress. And it's not even just that it makes your job interesting, it also helps make compromise, which is kind of the way it's supposed to work. Let's just kind of take a step back for 1 second. And our friends over at the hotline at the National Journal put into perspective not just Virginia, but what we've seen, which is why it makes it so bad for Democrats on redistricting over the last 10 days. Calais, the Supreme Court decision significantly weakened the Voting Rights Act, opening the door for more redraws. Then Tennessee Republicans passed the 9-0 congressional map. Louisiana is now on track to eliminate at least 1 Democratic seat. And then, of course, we just saw what happened in Virginia. And just to sort of continue to pick up on your point, I want to listen to the state Senate Majority Leader Shane Massey from your home state of South Carolina.
There's going to be another Democratic president at some point. I hope that's not the case, but it's going to happen. And it is important, I think, that there's somebody from South Carolina can make a call and somebody at the White House will answer it.
Make sure the map accomplishes the goal. If at the end of the day we create a map that gives Democrats more competitive opportunity, what have you gained?
Translation, there's trepidation in South Carolina to take advantage of the Supreme Court ruling like other southern states are.
Yeah, listen, because what you would probably have in South Carolina is no black representation, right? You would have seven Republicans. Clyburn would probably be not in Congress. He's got the 6th district. So yeah, this is a pendulum swing, right? And the idea is that, every action often has an equal and opposite reaction. And are we going to get into the situation where, as you said, every 2 years there is some different map, and it sows, I think, distrust and disengagement among voters, right? Particularly in some of these states where it isn't even the voters that are making the decisions; it is elected leaders of one party, and so this, I think, has set off a real arms race where we could see a House that doesn't really represent America. It doesn't really look like America, both in terms of diversity of ideas or diversity culturally.